Hi and hello guys. So today in this video I will show you as to how you can run voice activated Google Assistant SDK on your PC or desktop. So in my previous video we took a roundabout approach, used some macros and then triggered the Google Assistant. So if you take a look at the compatibility and the future support table given in the official SDK page, you can see here that the voice activation is supported only on the Linux platforms, the Linux ARMv7 and Linux x86 64. So what we will do is, instead of taking the roundabout approach of running it in using macros and all, so what we will do is today we will run the SDK in a Virtualbox machine. So first we will install the Linux OS onto the Virtualbox and then install the Google Assistant in the Linux within the Virtualbox. So you can run the Virtualbox minimized and you can just keep working around within your desktop and still have the the experience of the Google Assistant running in the background. Okay, so to get started, of course you need the Virtualbox and Linux OS. I have tested the Google Assistant to work with the Ubuntu, latest version of the Ubuntu, so I suggest you download that. So I will attach the links for both these in the description of this video. So now we will install Ubuntu on Virtualbox machine. To get started, open the Virtualbox manager and click on the new icon over here or the new option. Give your Linux machine a name, so I will give it Ubuntu LTS. So just leave these unchanged and then go to next, and here you need to allocate the memory or the RAM. I would suggest you to allocate at least 2 gigs of RAM. So the green space over here suggests the amount of RAM that you can allocate for your virtual machine without compromising on your Windows system. So after that, click next and then choose to create a virtual hard disk now, and then choose create. So here choose the option called a VHD or virtual hard disk, and then choose next and set the option to dynamically allocated. So this will constantly change the hard disk space as and when your Linux systems expands or starts taking in more and more files and softwares. So choose the option called dynamically allocated, choose next, and then here you need to allocate hard disk space. So this is the starting point, so I would suggest you to allocate at least 15 gigs. So Ubuntu by default needs at least 10 gigs, so I would suggest you to allocate 15 and then choose create. So once that is done, open settings. So here you need to make sure that you allocate all the resources properly. So as in like the audio, you need to enable audio input as well, and then go into network and you need to attach your Windows network adapter to the Linux machine. So right now I am connected over Wi-Fi, so that will be bridged adapter, and then your card should be either the Ethernet card or the Wi-Fi card. Say if you are connected over Ethernet, you need to set it to Ethernet controller. So if you are connected over Wi-Fi, you need to set it to the wireless controller, and then go into the storage. So by default you will have one empty disk drive, and then of course you will have your hard disk. So click on the empty disk drive, and here you should see a disk like icon. So click on this disk icon and then choose virtual optical disk file, and then choose the Ubuntu ISO image that you just downloaded and choose open. So now the empty should change to Ubuntu. After that, choose the option called live CD or DVD and then click OK. If you are well versed with Virtualbox, you can just play around and tamper with all the settings. If not, this is pretty much enough. You can then proceed on to the installation. Then now choose start. So as soon as the Ubuntu loads, you should see this installation or setup screen or a window, whatever you call it. So you have an option to try Ubuntu and then install Ubuntu. So this is a live disk. So if you choose to try Ubuntu, it will still give you all the features, but when you download or install certain softwares, as soon as you shut down the machine, all of them will be erased off. So you need to always install Ubuntu. Choose your preferred keyboard layout and the language. Choose continue. Choose normal installation, and again choose download updates while installing Ubuntu, and you can also select this if you want to have other third-party softwares. So I would suggest you to check this also, and then choose continue. So this is a very critical step and which you need to pay attention to. This is the part where you partition your hard drive for installing Ubuntu. Don't be afraid, it's not your computer's hard drive that you will be partitioning, it's just the virtual hard disk. Instead of choosing erase disk and install Ubuntu, choose something else and then choose continue. Here you should see a disk listed over here, and right below down you should see an option called new partition table. Click on the new partition table and just give continue, and now you should see some free space allocated. Choose on the click on the free space and click on the plus symbol over here. So this will create a hard drive, and under the mounting point it should be /. So pay attention to it. If you mess or give the option wrong, it won't work. So pay attention, the mounting point should be /, and you can alter the sizes and create multiple partitions. So if you are not well versed with this, I would suggest you to just leave it like this and then choose OK. So after the partition is created, click on that and choose install now, and then choose continue. So now you will be prompted to set your time zone. Choose whatever time zone you are in, then choose continue. So give your account a username and a password as well. So if you want the assistant to start automatically, you should choose the login automatically option. Choose the login automatically option and then click continue. So while the Ubuntu is being installed, we will take care of the other stuff now, that is like creating a Google Assistant project and creating a model in the Actions console and all those stuff. So let us move over to the Google Assistant front. So now we'll see as to how you can create a project for your Google Assistant SDK and also create a model in your Actions console. So first go into console.google.com. So I will attach the links for these in the description of this video, and in another tab open console.actions.google.com. So again I will leave this links in the description of this video. So once you are here, if you are new and you have not started a project, you will see an option called select a project. Click on this, and within the small window you should see an option called new project. Click on that and give your project a name. So I am giving it a name called Google Assistant Demo. Say for example, you have an option now to edit your project ID. See, if you want, you can assign your own project ID, or you can just use the ones that is being already generated. So if you want, click on the edit option and give it some other name. So if your project is not valid, you will see some warning symbols over here. Let me show that also. So if your project ID is not valid, it will say that it is not valid. And set your organization or location to no organization, and then choose create. So now you should see a notification, create project Google Assistant demo. So once that is done, go into API and services option and choose dashboard. From the drop down, choose your project. And now you will see an option called enable APIs and services. Click on that, and here type assistant. And now you should see an API called Google Assistant API. Click on that and choose enable. And then go back again, and here, so different projects call for different number of different APIs. So for my GSS project, I have a different a number of different APIs to be used. Say the fundamental API is the Google Assistant SDK, and apart from that I am also using search API, custom search API. So this is not meant for everyone. Say if your project calls for certain APIs, you need to add them. So in my project I am also using YouTube Data API version 3, so I am adding that as well. So now go back and choose API and dashboard, and now go into credentials and choose create credentials. So certain APIs require a key, and certain others require an auth client or 0 OAuth client ID. So you need to generate both. First choose API key, close, and then choose again create credentials and 0 auth client ID. And here first choose configure consent screen, give your project a name. So if you have something on the lines of Google or something, it will give up a prompt, so don't have that. Just give your project a name and then choose save. So after the consent screen is created, choose other and just give your credentials a name and choose create. So once you are done creating credentials, you can actually close this window, and now go into the actions console. I will attach the links again in the description of this video. And now here choose to add or import project. And now as soon as you click on your project name, your project should pop up over here. So this is if you sign in into the cloud console and the actions console with the same Google ID. So if you use the same Google ID, so your project should automatically get detected over here. Choose that and then choose import project. So after that, just keep scrolling down and go into device registration and choose register model. Give your project a name, so manufacturer or something. These are just random names. Device type can be anything, so I am choosing as light. So your model ID will be automatically generated, and now choose register model. As it is now, you can download your credentials, or you can download the credentials later. I will show you as to what you can do to download the credentials a bit later. And now choose next, specify traits, just give all 7 and choose save. So that is it, your project ID is created, your device has been registered. So subsequently, if you want to download your credentials, just click on this and then click on the hamburger icon and choose download Auth 2.0 credentials and save it to somewhere. So now you can close the actions console, and we are pretty much done over here. So once the Ubuntu installation is complete, you should see a restart now prompt. Click on that. So now you will be prompted to remove your installation medium. So at this point, click on the close button or the close icon, or close your window. So that will give you an option to power off the machine. Choose to power off the machine. And now head back to the machine that you created, go into settings and then storage, and click on the disk or the CD control and right click and choose remove attachment. Choose remove, and then right click on the controller IDE and choose remove controller. So after this, go into system, uncheck your floppy, uncheck your optical, and set your hard disk as your first priority. So this could have been done even before, so no harm actually. And now choose OK, and now choose start. So after Ubuntu starts, you should see these kinds of welcome screen or a welcome video, whatever. Choose, keep giving next. Choose. So your Ubuntu is now ready to be used. Okay, so that is how you install Ubuntu on Virtualbox machine. So now click on activities, and in this, now click on activities, and within the search bar over here type terminal. Right click and choose add to favorites, and now open the terminal. Okay, so for this demonstration I will be showing you the installation of the G-Assist Pi, which I have modified to work with the desktop, the Ubuntu or Linux desktop. So advantages of using my version of the G-Assist Pi is with the native hotword support or the native SDK, you don't have the audio prompts. So if you are running your Google Assistant in the background, say if your OK Google or Hey Google gets detected, you won't have any audio prompts. So whereas in my case, in the project that I have built around the SDK, I have added audio prompts and other custom actions. So even if you don't want the custom actions, I have provided an alternate script which you can use, getting rid of all your custom actions, and you can just use your Google Assistant SDK with just some additional voice or audio prompts. So head over to my Git project page. So I will leave the links in the description of this video. So this Google Assistant for the desktop branch that I have created shares all the features or the customizations of the Google Assistant for Google Assistant SDK on Pi. So this is basically a branch of G-Assist Pi for Linux or the Ubuntu desktops. So all the features that applies to the Pi also applies to this. See, if you don't want to use all those features, you can just replace the main.py file from extras onto the src, and you just will have the basic functionality without all the added whistles and decorations and all the stuff. So but still you will get the audio prompt for wake word detection, and you will also have a chance to use the your own custom wake words. Okay, and so if you go through the readme, I have given the basic steps that you need. If you just follow all these steps, you should have your assistant set up in no time actually. And before we start, you need to copy the credentials file from the actions console that we previously created. So I have it on my thumb drive. So if you have it on your thumb drive, you can add your thumb drive to the virtual machine like this. Just go into the USB and add your thumb drive. And now your thumb drive should appear over here. Copy it, paste it in your home directory. See, if you have multiple credentials file and if you are not sure as to what it actually is for, just double click and open it. And now you should see your project ID over here. So this will show you as to what the credentials file is meant for. Okay, so it's just a tip. And now we can start rolling out the Google Assistant SDK. If you want, you can eject your thumb drive. Okay, so first step is to install Git. Just copy paste all these commands onto the terminal. You should be fine. First time when you use a sudo command, you will be prompted for a password. So remember the password that you created while creating the account. And now next step is to clone the project. And so if you see here, next step is to change the directory. So we have downloaded the credentials already. So this is the process that I showed you before, creating a project and then creating a credentials in the actions console that I just showed you now. So now we have already downloaded the credentials and pasted it onto the home directory. So over here, if you see here, I have asked you to change directory cd /home/username. This username will be the name that you have over here. So as it is, copy pasting will not work. Just copy paste cd/home. You can just type it if you want, and then here give your name, machine name, that is usually the thing before the @ and then run the next set of commands. So upon running the installer script, you will be prompted for three things. First is the path to the credentials file, and then your model ID, and then your project ID. So you need to have all of them ready. So have your actions console window opened. And now you can run your installer. So as I said, you will be prompted for the path to the credentials file. So that will be /home/your username, and now open the home directory, right click on the credentials file that you downloaded and choose properties. So if you see here, the parent folder is /home/the username. So over here, press your mouse icon, control A or select all, copy, and then paste it over here. So now you have the entire path to the file copied. Choose enter, and now you will be prompted for your project ID. So the model ID, the first part of the model ID will be your project ID. So if you are not sure of your project ID, just open your cloud console and double check. After this, you will be asked to enter your model ID. Enter your model ID that you just generated in your actions console. Okay, so now you can just close your actions console. So this will take quite a while, so relax a bit, go for a walk or a jog or whatever. So in the meanwhile, what you can actually do is you can set up your service files ready. So double click and open your project folder, and if you see here in your home directory, you will have a file called modelid.txt. So I have saved your the setup, or the installer will save your model ID over here. Just copy that and now go into the project folder, systemd, and then the gssp desktop.service, and replace the text over here with your model ID that you just copied. Now choose close and then save. This is the same step that I have mentioned over here under the headless part, first part of the headless setup. So at the end of this installation, you will be prompted for an authentication process. So we will just take a look at that in a while. So now at the end of the installation process, you should be given an authorization or the URL to authorize the assistant. Right click and choose copy link, then paste it in your browser. So once the installation is done and the authorization is complete, the demo version of the Google Assistant should start automatically. Okay, so let me just not play around and trigger this, so to prevent any accidental triggers on your side. So let me just close this. And now if you reboot, now that we have also set up the systemd file or the headless setup file, now when we boot, you should hear the Google Assistant startup tone. So as I said before, if you don't need all those bells and whistles of the Google Assistant on Pi, you can replace the file from the extras folder onto your src folder. So this will get rid of all the bells and whistles and all those complications that is there for the Google Assistant on Pi. And now when I restart the Ubuntu, I should get a nice audio prompt showing me that the Google Assistant has started. Okay, so while the Ubuntu is booting, there is one last step that we need to do. Set the virtual machine to start automatically on Windows boot. So in order to do that, open cmd, that is Windows plus R, and type shell -startup. And now go into your Virtualbox manager, right click and choose create shortcut on desktop. Now you should have the Ubuntu LTS shortcut created. Cut that and paste it in the startup window over here. So now your Ubuntu machine will automatically start on boot, on Windows boot. So now the Ubuntu is restarting, and upon restart you should now hear a melodious tone followed by a hi. So that indicates the Google Assistant is working.
Hi.
So you heard a tone, so that shows that the Google Assistant is working. Say if you want to check the status of your service, open a terminal and type sudo systemctl status and your service name. Now as you can see, the assistant has started and the service is active. Okay, so that is pretty much it. So that is how you can run Google Assistant on your desktop through Virtualbox. So I really hope that you find this video very informative and useful. So until next video, see you all and take care and bye bye.